And hello once again. We have finally finished this the Confederate campaign, what I can call as a painful kind of event. And now we've moved from one Civil War game to another. So I've had played this before. I've played the Union campaign and Confederate campaign on stream. Now this time I'm going to record it. Um, so what is this game? It's effectively a very good game made by who made it? I don't know. Who made this bad boy? If I go to the store page. Game Labs, apparently, publisher and developer. Now, Game Labs have made quite a few strategy games. They've made a lot of naval games. They've made Ultimate Admiral, Age of Sail. They've made Ultimate General Gettysburg, and they have made some very interesting, rather good RTS games based off the Civil War. And then they moved on to the Revolutionary Wars, and now, fingers crossed, they'll eventually get to making, say, French Revolutionary or the Napoleonic Wars. But for now, this I think is their magnum opus, their best game, where you play as a Union or Confederate general. And as the game progresses, you can upgrade your armies and use them in battle as you go for most of the key battles. It's effectively a battle simulator. You play different battles. You don't really do a grander strategy, but it's got RPG elements to it in terms of what you invest in and what you do. So I'm going to delete my previous saves first, and then we're going to play the Union campaign. So here's your first introduction. So this is the beginning where you can sort of build your general initially. And there's also a lovely bit of background speech going on, but it's rather tedious. So you've always dreamed of becoming a military officer like your father. You feel it is your destiny to serve your nation. From here you can pick what you want, logistician, strategist or tactician, which give you different buffs or perks. Your skill level, which then affects what you do in a battle, how you build your armies. So for example, if I do army organization, that means I can have a larger army, and logistics means my guys get more weapons at the start of the battle. Training means, of course, veteran troops cost less when you train up your troops, and reconnaissance means, of course, you get less fog of war and more details about your enemy, which you don't really need. So the best two ones I would go for army organization and training, because you get cheaper troops in the long term, and you can have a large army early on. From there, you can pick what you specialize in: artillery, infantry, or cavalry. Of course, infantry gives you +3, reconnaissance gives you +1, reconnaissance +3, logistics +1, so that's not really one you want to have. Medicine +2, which is good. It means you get less attrition or you get more trickle back of your troops and more logistics. But infantry, of course, for cheaper troops, which is much better. From there, you can go business. So larger economy means when you buy weapons to upgrade your armies or your troops, they cost less. And when you sell stuff, you sell them at a larger amount of money, which is good in the long term. But actually, in terms of war fighting, is not very good. On the right, politics is where the important one, because politics will give you a certain political rating, which means that you can spend your political points, and after every key battle, you'll get a large amount of money, a large amount of troops to be given to you, and so on. So politics is where you want to go, politics and economy. From here, you've got your two choices: Confederacy or Union. Confederacy starts off easy, then gets very hard. I would say this is the medium to hard nation to play. Then Union starts off hard, then gets very easy towards the end as the Confederacy gets weaker and weaker. So Union is really your easy mode to start. Colonel is, of course, very easy. Brigadier General, no bonuses or penalties. And then, of course, Major General, enemy strength +15%, reputation drop +25%, and golden recruits. So we're going to do Brigadier General with no perks. So we're going to, of course, call ourselves mildly. And you can see your starting rating. So this is your general income at the start, your discount, your veteran costs, and so on and so forth. Let's begin. So it immediately drops you off in the first battle as a tutorial. So the main objective as a union is to capture this town with potential reinforcements from the rebels. These starting troops are freely given, and you don't really have to worry about them, and pretty easy to use. So you've got your skirmishers, which are good at micro if you can micro them, and very good at weakening long term, weakening a line if you can micro them. So you can see we've got Zook and we've got our general. Generals nearby give perks, and we're going to slowly march our troops up. We're going to also increase the volume a little bit because it's a bit quiet from my end. There we are. So first things first, we want to push these skirmishers off so we can move down into the village. And there we are. Pretty easy to control, so if you want to go and get these guys to go through a certain route, you can drag. But if you want to just give them a general order, you just right click. So right click, they'll immediately do a general order to engage. See, we've got more reinforcements. The game will normally develop throughout as you progress, giving you more men, more troops throughout. Of course, at the start, these are freely given troops, so troops don't really have to worry about too much. You don't have to worry about losses, anything like that. But as the war goes on, you will want to be a bit more careful of what you do with your men. So this is a much more arcadey game compared to Grand Tactician, but the complexity comes from the larger scales as the war goes on. And as your troops get more experience, they'll get perks to their abilities and their fighting skills. Right now, these guys aren't experienced enough to get perks, but as the game goes on, they'll get more and more experienced. We're not engaging yet with these corps because I don't want to lose too many men doing it. You also have a cover system, so right now these guys are in the open, but if I was to say put them into some trees or put them into this wood forest there, they're going to get much more cover and take less damage. And of course cannons, your bog standard, more cannons the better. We're going to move our cannons up, get nice and close. Unlike Grand Tactician cannons, these guys are actually very vulnerable to volleys, and so you don't want to overdo the damage. You don't want to send them up too close without support. But these cannons also do pack a punch if you can get them close enough. So we've pushed across, going to move these armies across as quickly as possible to secure. I'm going to move the cannons up as close as possible as well to secure. And then we're going to chill. The Loomis has got wounded, but hey ho, cost of it, you will get casualties as the war goes throughout the battle. And you also get supply wagons. Supply wagons, well, they supply. There's not much else I can say about your supply wagons. The main aim here is really to do max damage. You want to flank and do as much damage as possible to these units via flanking actions. That's why you have cannons behind, because although they will do friendly fire, their grape shot is amazing. And there we have it, a surrendered unit. So surrendered units will act like units in the field that can be recaptured by the enemy if enemy forces get near them. You can exchange captured units for more manpower, so it's actually pretty good in the long term to get captured units. Also, you can get guns from captured units, so it's in your interest to capture as many as possible. But as you can see, the cannons are very deadly, but if they're left unsupported, they will take immense casualties. And skirmishers are very good, but need micro. Now we'll move up our cannons. Move up mildly. Generals give buffs, so you do want to have generals supporting you. If you can remember to micro. Now we just sort of fight it out. So we've got to hold this for about 14 minutes of in-game time. That shouldn't be very hard to do. Sadly, one of our skirmishers have gone, but I don't care too much because of skirmishers. And I don't really use skirmishers in my armies. Like, I know a lot of players who do in the team discussions, and they do a lot of damage. But they're very fragile, and they do require a lot of micro. And there we are. Capture the objective, moving on to the next phase. The battle here isn't very difficult. If I'm honest, the initial battle is pretty easy, just so you can get into the swing of things. So now we have to hold here against the Confederate counterattack. And until we get some Union reinforcements. So early on, it's very important to get your manpower, to preserve manpower. Right now you can see I'm sort of throwing them away because they don't really matter right now in the early phase of the game and the tutorial. But as the game goes on, manpower will become a limiting factor, and you don't want your manpower to get too low, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. Eventually, especially as Confederacy. So you can see they've just attempted to charge. I'm going to send my cavalry to countercharge. Cavalry is good for countercharging, but not good for attacking. Not good for attacking uncharged full health divisions or corps, unless you've got 3 or 4 of them. So now you have a little bit of chaos, a little bit of bruh. But nothing we can't handle. So you keep your cavalry in reserve just to countercharge. I don't use a lot of cavalry in my armies, but if you do, the main purpose is skirmishing and countercharging. So you've been able to hold, but now, of course, in the ensuing charge. It's fast-paced right now because I'm on 2 speed. 1 speed, it's a bit slower. But right now I'm on 2 speed to speed it along, because the first battle is not at all challenging. Sadly, the Confederate set-piece armoured cars has turned up to screw me. Which is not good. But fortunately I've got friendly troops on the way. The good thing about the AI is that it actually is very aggressive and it will try and exploit. Hello Ruben fan, welcome. But the key thing to really about this game is about the micro. If I hold, say, the center, if I hold this town, I'll get maximum cover and I'll be able to inflict excessive casualties. I'm playing on Brigadier General, so medium difficulty for the Union, which is basically easy mode, because Union is in fact easy mode. He's a noob. Nah, easy mode is Colonel. On Brigadier General Confederacy, that's not easy mode. Confederacy is Dante must die mode. That's a Potomatic simulator. So you can see the cover on the bottom left. You can cheese this battle by ignoring the defensive positions and holding, say, inside the town. And this will mean you will take not a lot of casualties, whereas the AI will take an awful lot. Let's crack this out to 3 speed. Move the cannons behind the infantry. And in this game, cannons can go behind infantry without too much hassle. And now we just fight it out. I'm going to move back this unit a bit now that they've fired, because they've taken a bit of damage. Move back the cannons. Relocate the cannons to fire back inside because they are YOLOing in. Whoa, 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 cannons. Yeah, Brigadier General was really hard. It's not too bad for the Union late game. Early game, though, it is very, very challenging. If you can't win the early battles rather healthily as the Union, you can have a bad time. But late game, the Union really does become a very, very powerful beast. And the Confederacy does struggle. But it can be a very difficult game, this bad boy. Especially as a Confederacy. The Confederacy is hard mode. So my cannons are now vulnerable, so I'm going to retreat them back. I've got one cannon here, firing away. But damage is done now for a lot of these units, so I can just go 4 speed and chill for a bit. Maybe even retreat back into the town. There you go, the Confederate train is running away like a little bitch. Managed to beat the Union campaign legendary only using muskets. Ugh. That's hard. Union legendary campaign is hard. Early on it's hard, definitely. Like when you're doing Gaines Mill and things like that, you're going to have a painful time. But also the game has a tendency to trick new players. New players would assume to hold this position because it's got a defensive line, but a lot of the early cover is garbage. So it's not recommended to actually use the early cover. So from here you can cheese, because what happens is troops numbers are carried over to future battles. Now the AI does have a comeback mechanic, but if you want an easier time, if you've won decisively in a battle, you'll keep fighting it to wipe out the entirety of the enemy's army, which is makes life later on very easy, but it's also a bit of a cheesy thing to do. The battle's been won, but I want to get rid of these cannons. Don't think I'll be able to, so I'm going to click finish and be done. So infantry, blah, 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 blah. So you really want to pay attention to your casualties. This is not too bad casualty, especially as a Union. Union casualty is not a problem. Units, you can pay attention to see which your best units, like Loomis, he did very well. Officers who got injured and what weapons you've captured. Of course, if you do more damage, if you completely wipe out an enemy army, you can get a lot more better weapons. And that ends the tutorial. And you get a medal for doing a tutorial. So here you get rewards. Of course, the more battles you win, the more rewards you get, and you need those rewards to build up your army. So I've got 1 career point and +3 reputation, a little medal, and because I had some prisoners of war, I got 459 additional recruits. Here, this is where you build your armies. So you have our 1st division, and then of course you can add more troops as you go along. This is the money you have on the top left, the manpower you have on the right, and your reputation. Low reputation gives you morale penalties. High reputation will allow you to buy new stuff like more manpower and more weapons. So I always recommend to build out your armies first before you spend money, just to see what you need later on. So we need Loomis and charge again, and we want to add about 1,500 men, which is about the staple for most corps. So 1,500 men units give you that flexibility without being too chonky. So you can have like 3,000 size brigades, but that's not recommended. And then we're going to up our guns to about 10-pounder ordnances. And we're going to recruit some more infantry brigades. So we can equip. How much money do we have? 34,000. Palmettos. Actually, let's just recruit bog standard troops first. I want numbers first for the future battles. So here we can see the limiting factor is manpower and not money. And so we want to go and increase perks that will give us more manpower, which is the careers perk. High career perk will give you more recruiting. You see that went up, which means more manpower. And we click apply. And then we can add some money to our supply with our little supply wagons. This will keep us fed as the war battles go on. And you're constantly having to balance out your perks with your funding, with your manpower. So each battle as it goes on will cause a drain on your supply and your forces. And depending what side you're on and what difficulty, that drain can have a really big impact on the effect of your ability to wage war. Here's the armory. You can sell guns, buy guns, but you don't really want to sell your guns yet until you've got full economy. The barracks, where you can recruit and pay for new generals or new commanders, and the career tree, which of course you can go career. But now we move on to the battles map. So this is the comeback mechanic. So you'll get some information about the previous battle from stolen enemy correspondence. And in this case, he is complaining that he's going to lose unless he gets more reinforcements. Now counting on your old friendship and your political connections, can you please help me to gain more time and receive more military support? From there, you'll be told what sort of support the enemy is getting for the future battles. So we know that 2,200 more troops are going to the Confederate Army. And we get our own report from our own side telling us 4,800 new recruits are joining the enemy's territory. On the top right, will tell you your enemy's strength, the level of training in the army, which will go up as the war goes on, especially as the Union, as the Confederacy, it will get probably the high point around Gettysburg and start massively dropping, becoming quite an easy battle. So you've got our main battles like the first Bull Run, and then you've got little skirmishes. Highly recommend you do all the skirmish battles first because these will give you more money, more manpower, and more political power. So you want to do these little skirmishes before you move up to the main battle. Also, little skirmishes will give you little buffs. For example, if I did this little skirmish, I'll get a little buff here, which means that the enemy will receive less weapons. So you want to do all these little battles before you do the main battles to get your weapon, to get as many perks for the upcoming major battles. The game ends if your political power drops below, I believe, 100. Well, it drops to 0, and that's when you get pieced out or replaced. So if you lose a battle, you can see I lose -9 political power. But draw, I lose -5, and a victory, I get +4. So you really want to win. You don't want to lose political power because you need that later on. The newly formed army is needed urgently for the protection of our supply station near Manassas Railroad Junction. We are evacuating a region which is very supportive of the Confederates. Our supplies, arms, and ammunition must be secured. So here we can select our army, stick it in the center. You can, when you end up with more cores, you can step more stuff up. But this is the limitations we have right now. So that's the only troops we've got. So we've got to start the battle with only like 2 divisions. This is quite a hard battle. I don't really like this battle. Because again, it's a trick battle. People assume that you should hold these forts, but in fact, these forts are extremely vulnerable, so I don't recommend holding them. So there will be enemy coming over there and enemy coming from up here, which you have to be concerned about. But you will get reinforcements at a later date. To get victory, you need to hold both supply depots, and so that's what we need to do. So let us start the battle. So we're going to move up our troops and immediately tell our forces to abandon the defenses of these forts, because the forts give you garbage defense and they're quite easy to encircle. Reinforcements should be coming at a later date throughout this phase, but the question will be whether or not we can hold long enough to get those reinforcements. So I've got some free spawns defending these supplies, but I don't really want to use them. The starting engagements like Shiloh, you have a lot of free spawn troops which aren't your own, which you can just discard and use and just throw away, and it won't affect your army's manpower. Like Bull's Run, you'll get a lot of free troops which you don't really need to worry about. So immediately we have engagement to our left. I'm going to start moving the cores around to engage. And the skirmishers are being, of course, skirmishers, being a general nuisance. These skirmishers are just there to delay. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing, skirmishers? I'm going to send up Loomis to hold the right. And the aim here is to get as many flanking actions as possible. Because if you flank, you do excessive damage like you just saw there. And so a lot of the campaign is a lot of heavy micro to flank and counter flank. I'm going to send my cav to charge this while they are still weak, even though I've got a lot of weaks. Oh, fuck that up. Weak army. And I'm keeping my skirmishers here just to pin, just to buy time. Now that I know that these units have been sufficiently damaged, I'm going to retreat my guys back. And I'm going to relocate this corps over to the south. These guys can be cannon fodder, they're free spawns, they're just there to delay. Now, if you are feeling particularly devious, you can try and steal the enemy's supply depot, which is great stuff if you can do it. And there we have Confederate charges. So this is where we start using some logic here. Start relocating our cores. And try and fix the situation. Should get reinforcements now. But we've got large brigades, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And now we've got... I keep on forgetting that right click is not a good thing to do in this. Where's my reinforcements? My cannons. My cannons are coming up. I'm going to countercharge their cav. Because they're flanking me. And I'm going to get my supplies the hell out of here. Sadly, the AI does love a good charge, especially early on. Probably one of the few builds where you can build like a shock troop army as the Unionists like do nothing but muskets. Okay, bring back the cav. No real victory here, just a rout. Send up more troops to stop this mess. Get the skirmishers back before they get deleted. Get these skirmishers to pester here. Bring up the cannons. Looks like someone captured our supply depot, so we're immediately going to go back and get supply. It's very, very hectic right now. I'm going to go back to 1 speed. But the first engagements as a unit are the hardest because you don't have the armies large enough yet to actually do anything. At this stage, I feel that I need to commit the southern troops to salvage this. That cav's got to go. Go, cav, go. Be gone. We're out. Thank you. Let's go bully those cannons. I'm bringing back El Cavo. They are pretty good. They'll move to hit the first target, but they're pretty easy to flank. As you can see, it's all about flanking in this game. If you can flank, you can just get a rout. You can just chain rout them. Run away, Cav. And I think we've broken the back of these guys mostly. You got to have those cannons nice and close up so you can get a sweet grape shot. I do have to be careful. Sometimes the Confederates can be quite sneaky and go for a back cap, so I'm going to send one unit just to test this. And my cav's going to come around. Mildly, the general's cowering in the other forts, so that's going to stop. I'll speed it because we can't really do much now. The battle has been set. Now we've got to hopefully just win the numbers game. Nice, easy route. Damn, these Confederates just don't like retreating, do they? Ammo, so move the supply wagon over. Ammo means that you guys will still fire this at a reduced rate, which you don't want to happen. So supply wagons are rather important. They're also extremely tedious to micro. Come on now. Come on, boys. You can win this. Another charge. Hopefully another route. And we finished the battle. It's one of those battles you want to finish as soon as possible because, of course, you haven't got the numbers at this stage to win, and you just want to hold until the timer goes down, so you just get the victory. So we've got our victories that will give us more points, and you don't want many casualties at this stage of the engagement. And we've got some free guns. So that means more men. More men means more fun. First stage, we're just going to buy crappy equipment. And I want to see if I want the 12-pound Napoleons, but they're too expensive. So we're going to instead recruit another infantry brigade, give them Springfields, because I just want to pad my armies out first. Okay, I'm out of manpower, so guess what? More politics. Politics is your manpower go-to. You want that maxed out as soon as possible. And then let's see if we can get more of these boys, which we can't. So numbers aren't the issue right now. Numbers aren't a problem. So we're going to start spending money on upgrading our guns. There are different guns, different stats. The farmer is of course your garbage. You don't want that. It's effective range, it's fire rate, it's accuracy. Melee is 95, so if you want to do a melee army, then go for the farm or the reborn muskets. But Lorenzes are your sort of your go-to. They've got 340 range and 75 accuracy. Now you can go for these bad boys, but they're quite rare. But Lorenzes are really the base mark. But of course, they cost a lot of money. So there's your fly in the ointment. Of course, you can use captured weapons. For example, we have do we have any captured weapons? We've got some captured Springfields, but that's too. There's not enough to fill a full brigade. And with that, let's save. And let's delete the previous saves. One of those games where you end up with like 50,000 saves because it auto saves. I suppose you could turn off the autosave if you wanted to. So, battles map. Again, general information. So here we can hear that we've got 3,200 veteran Confederate troops are joining to... It's basically like rubber banding on racing games. If you're doing too much damage to the Confederate army, it's no longer going to pose a risk. The AI will rubber band it back to what it believes to be a sufficient size. So you can see 8,500 more recruits, making it a bit harder. So first Bull's Run is your first key historical battle, and you'll get a lot of free units to fight this battle, which you can just throw away and discard to achieve your objectives. As long as you don't destroy your own units, it won't affect your manpower. So the Confederate army of PJT Beauregard has deployed south of Bull Run River to guard Manassas Railroad Junction. From the other side, Brigadier General Irvin McDowell is looking for a weak point to attack. Your forces will join McDowell and help him to initiate attack on the left flank of the Confederate army. And here, because I've won that previous skirmish, they've got 20% less weapon quality. If I win, I get +10. If I lose, -20, which you don't really want to lose. And a draw, a 1. So we want to win this battle. Several miles east, the Confederate army of PJ2 Beauregard is to plow south of Bull Run. From the other side, Brigadier General McDowell is leading the Union army. It's looking for a weak point to attack. The Confederate army is stretched out to defend all possible river passages. Their left flank is vulnerable, and this is where the bulk of the Union army is going to attack. At first, you're going to lead some of McDowell's troops in a decoy action at the Stone Bridge. Their mission will be to screen our primary flanking maneuver through Sudley Ford. Next, your army backed by McDowell's main force will launch a powerful attack from the west. The main objective will be to surprise and quickly overwhelm the Beauregard's left flank before Joseph East Johnston reinforces him. So here's the enemy fortifications. This is some of our troops coming in, which actually this is misleading. Your troops will actually spawn here, and this is where the battle will take place. Now, what I will say about this game is that it gets easier with previous knowledge. Sometimes the game's like intro, like this part, will mislead you, and it will guide you to do something historical which is catastrophic, like Chancellorsville or Fredericksburg, you know. So it'll tell you to frontally charge when you don't actually want to frontally charge. So this game gets a lot easier with previous knowledge. The rebels are guarding the Manassas Railroad Junction with a strong force a few miles east of this location. Bull Run River is defended by several CSA brigades. So here's where we're pushing, and here's where our reinforcements are coming from. Our main force will cross the river and attack the left flank. If we act fast, the rebels will have no time to reinforce the area and be forced off the field. This is where we'll move east to deal the final blow. We can end the war today. Spoilers, you don't. Then we're ready to execute our diversionary attack. So diversionary attack basically means flank around and ignore. So they want you to attack here, but you don't want to because it's a disaster waiting to happen. You want to actually flank over there because of that entrenched position on that stone bridge. Of course, feel free to bring up your cannons and start bombarding. And this is where previous knowledge comes into play because I've played this game so many times. A lot of players will think, let me charge across. That's what the game's told me to. Wouldn't recommend doing that. Don't believe it's in your interests, old boy. So these are not my armies, you can tell by the size, so these are complete cannon fodder which I can dispose of. Nice try, Cavi. There we have the enemy, which we want to engage with our 2 corps. And weaken them before we move forward. Now, I'm not seeing any infantry brigades here. Oh, there they are. So immediately retreat. In fact, I might just use skirmishers. Once the cavi boys have finished doing their thing. God, I love cavalry. This will take some time to break, but you don't want to charge across because you're going to have a bad time. I mean, we can try to, if you're feeling like dangerous boys. But it's likely that our guys will rout before they get across. Good, enemy cavalry's routed. Out come the skirmishers. Spot for us. And now we can break across. We got cav, but cav numbers here is garbage. Like, they're scout cav, they're not good. They're there to steal still weaker units. So we've already moved across, but we want to keep on going south to engage this force here now. And now we've got our reinforcing corps, which is basically our army. And we want to move to capture the first ridge, which won't have a lot of enemy defenses on it. The main ridge, the main defenses will be in here, so we want to move our corps around as much as possible before the next phase of the engagement. We want to start running here, because that cannon's going to start doing damage. And we've got even more cannon fodder to bring up. I mean, more loyal soldiers to do the job for us. And these boys are going to move, of course, over here. Skirmish is going to charge. That's cute. And we're going to move up our cannons as close as possible. There we are. Ridge is taken. Move up. Charge the cannons. Turn this flank. I'll turn it back because it's about to get hit. Try a bit because we just lost a lot of troops. But remember, they're not my troops, so why should I care? Start running because you're on a time-sensitive part of the mission. Mildly run away. Let's see if we can bring those cannons over. Now, if you tell these guys to walk and engage, they'll fire and maneuver, which is actually rather convenient. They sure love their charges. And more troops for the meat grinder. And because they're so far away, we're going to make them run. On the right, we appear to have been pushed back, which is not good. Well, we don't need the right to win this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. On we go. We should be getting a big core coming up here soon, so not too worried just yet. Although well, these aren't my cannons, so I don't care that much. But you know, I'm still a bit upset. I'm still a bit salty. I'm still a salty boy. Also, look forward to more World War I and later levels like 1864, 1865, where it's just trench charges. If you like Cold Harbor, then we got the game for you. Keep forgetting that these routes don't mean anything. I'm still thinking Grand Tack, where a route means they'll leave the battlefield. They won't, they'll just reform. So I should stop charging as often. And there's more boys for the meat grinder. Hold. Run. Hold and run. On the left, how well we doing? Not doing too badly. The core's coming. And we're going to start moving over. Ah, you guys. Whee! So this is where you get to the next stage where they withdraw to Henry Hill. So that's why I've been moving our troops around so we can get over to Henry Hill as quickly as possible. Sadly, we're not taking the right, which is a tad irksome. That's alright, Sherman's coming, so it all works out. Micro, micro, micro. And our first course dark is almost there. Now, because I've got previous game knowledge, I know that I need to win the battle as quickly as possible, because if I don't, then the enemy's going to send out a massive horde of troops. On like the second and third stage. So I need to secure the ridge before that happens. I hate you these YOLO charges. It's pissing me off. Good. Get these guys across and get these guys across. Move these guys over on the left. That was a waste. These guys are in range. These guys are in range. There's no need to fire. Charge into that. Move forward. Let's bring it down to 1 speed now. I'm gonna micro this like a little bitch. Oh, you're tired. What a shame. Come on now. You need to get across this river before the Confederacy can create a strong, decent battle line. Otherwise, it's ogre. Two-speed it. Bring up the rest of the cannon fodder. Hold. Cannons you want to bring up as close as possible to avoid that counter charge, because you can see these guys can fire through my troops with not too much casualties. So if they counter charge, I can just grape shot and immediately do force a rout. There we are. See that lovely little damage there. And now it's just a case of pushing these guys off Henry Hill. Not bad, not bad, Daw. The battle's going rather well. Bit of a bodged assault on the right, but we've slowly got things under control now. And although they've got units behind me, it shouldn't be a problem because they should be taking an awful lot of damage now. Now, the good thing about this game is you do see the changing course of the battle, the push and then the line. It's very impressive, especially as you go through different phases. Of course, it's not as organic as Grand Tack, but it gives you that more structured approach and makes the historical battles a tad more realistic. So in this case, I think the heavy pressure on the left worked in our favour because it diverted Confederate troops to deal with that flank. Yeah, a nice civil war. Yeah, a civil war total war would be good, but again, I don't think it'd be very hard to make in today's current. Well, it'd be very difficult to. I just don't think Creative Assembly has it in them anymore to make a decent historical game, if I'm honest. Like they never seem to. They haven't been able to pull it off for a while now. Like what's the previous, like they had Alexander Total War? That was a pretty bruh. Yeah. I like Grand Tack. Grand Tack really does scratch the Civil War itch. I mean, sure, the graphics aren't amazing, but at the end of the day, the graphics does the job, and the setting and the soundtrack more than makes up for it. Yeah, but if they could do Napoleon to like with the latest graphics, do a Total War game, it'd be amazing. Like do a Civil War game, it'd be amazing. As long as they didn't do like alt history. What if the whole Confederate army had Gatling guns? Yes, what if? So this is a pretty comfortable position, but now here comes the Confederate counterattack. This is why I was putting on a lot of pressure at the start of the campaign, because this is where things get a little bit tricky. Things get a tad more like Shogun 2. Yeah, Shogun 2 Fall of Samurai is such a great game. I didn't expect it to be such a good a gunpowder game, but it was. I remember playing multiplayer Shogun 2, and with the avatar system, if you came to that game early, came to that game late, everyone would have really good gunpowder units. and you would have garbage. Garbage like katana men. So I used to make a meme build in these in the multiplayer armies where I'd have a first thin wave of garbage troops followed by katana samurai, and I'd use the first wave as a human wave just to get close enough to the enemy before I could use the katana guys. If I could get the katana guys into the battle, I won, but it was just like such a 50-50 strat, because if your guys routed before the katanas could get close enough, then it was yeah, it was ogre. So I gotta hold this for 2 hours. So see you guys in about 2 hours time. Yeah. I liked how you could choose to go melee or not melee in if you choose to go gunpowder if you wanted to in Forward Samurai. Also you could pick sides, you could either go it alone or you could pick a side and be like, ah, I'm gonna join the Emperor. I'm gonna join the Shogun. As opposed to Realm Divide, which is lol, get dabbed on. Ah, I see you're doing too well, let's turn the entire world against you. Yeah, the AI was really on point as well for holy fuck. The AI was really on point for Logan too. Like it was aggressive and it was clever. And it would attack you when you were your weakest. It would do deals with you at its strongest. Like it was really probably the most polished AI I've seen in a lot of Total War games. So we got ourselves casualties. So this tends to happen a lot, especially if the competitor has a high manpower to start. They'll charge, and after the initial fear of the first charge, if they don't break you, then the next couple of charges will be very weak because they've lost a lot of men. So once you've broken the initial charges, it's just a case of farming. Of course, they have to charge because they need to get the objective, so the AI is designed to do so. But now it's just going to pleb itself to death. Siege battles, yeah. I didn't think siege battles were that bad in Shogun. As opposed to the new siege battles, which is lol, have one wall. You know, that's like we can't get the AI to work, so we've only given them one wall to attack the castle. Oh, they went really fast. Yeah, they did. But once you've got like Armstrong cannons and that, it was just a funny little meme. I'm going to like you bring a whole army of Armstrongs. Could have cav somewhere, which I never use. And from now, we just chill. Highly recommend you get some 12-pound Napoleons once you're able to. These are only 6-pounders, so they're going to be pretty garbage. Once you get those bad boys, the game is pretty much ogre. Because you're going to set up a nice cannon line behind. If they charge, you grape shot, they lose like 500 men. Make sure you bring a lot of ammo. Just make sure you don't forget about ammo. So many times I've left like a supply wagon there, and the AI will send some skirmishers, and I've like lost $20,000, $30,000 worth of logistics because I wasn't paying attention. Like there, that devious little soldier's like hunting like a shark. My baby seal, my baby supply seal. You can in fact die in this game. So if the game doesn't end if you die, but you can turn mildly, for example, into brigade commander, and your brigade commander can get killed in action. So you don't. It's just a nice. It's a nice little Easter egg. So I could just like say, ah, my guys died. It's ogre. You can also have like General Lee die. Depends on what commanders you have, which adds to the RPG element of the game. Sadly, there's a hard limit on how many reinforcements you get with POWs. So I think I'll only be able to get a maximum of like 1,000 men as POWs. So even if you get like 20,000 POWs, you only get so many men back or more recruits from it. Still, it is funny if you do encircle a full army, which you can do as Confederacy on a few certain battles, because you can just yeetus, deletus, and wipe out entire forces, and then the next battle they just come back and just springboard back, but you get a load of guns out of it. So they won't be able to attack anymore. You see that the AI has gone very passive now. No more charges. This is where you can be really meta. So the meta to really beat the game on harder difficulties is to wipe out the Confederate army each time you fight it where possible. So I'd keep this battle going and just aim to encircle and aim to just make sure they all rout, so that next time these guys don't get added to the next pile of Confederate reinforcements. It's sort of a necessity as a Confederacy. You do need to wipe out the Union as many times as possible. But in the Union campaign, it makes the game too easy, especially on later difficulties, so you don't want to cheese. Cheesing's bad, okay? Don't do it. You ruin your gaming experience. And a glorious victory, of course. So here I could keep the battle going, wipe these armies out, but you don't want to because it's cheese. So no cheesing. Casualties, 14, well, strength 14,000, 14,000. Casualties 3,800, casualties 9,500. So I would be more concerned about this if most of these were actually my army, but they're not. They're most of they're free spawns for you early on, so you can fight big battles. But once you start getting later on in the game, you want to be paying attention and try not to get as many casualties as possible, because you may win the battle you're fighting, but then the next battle may be very it's like a snowball effect. You may lose that because you don't have enough men. All my boys have been promoted, apart from this guy who's got wounded and these guys who are dead. So rip these fellows. S or F to pay respects. And these are the guns we have captured and rescued. Nice little medal. Some 1,000 more men and +1 orc. If you do win key battles, you sometimes get extra points you can spend.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to go 1,500, 1,500. So we see we've leveled up a force. We can go discipline training with +10 morale, +5 efficiency, or we can go +10 stamina, +5 efficiency, and +10 speed. I like speed, so we're going to go speed. And then I'm going to see if I can buy. Actually, I'm not going to buy anything yet. I'm going to get my armies nice and big first. So we've got plenty of manpower and we've got plenty of this. Now I can make a second corps, but I know from previous experience that you want a large army for the next battle, so we're going to go down army org. 2 army org.
Yes, sir.
And that will allow me to build another corps. So you can build skirmishers, cavalry, etc., but infantry is really where your bread and butter is going to be. I tend to like to put a nice artillery detachment in my armies, so I'll put a nice artillery detachment here. More infantry. More infantry. More infantry. And then we'll build our second corps. Create a new corps. We can pick boys we want, which we're not going to. I'm going to create a new division. And I'm going to make our cannons first. Eventually you can go down like to £20 these boys, but they're expensive and they're not very good. Your bread and butter will be in Napoleons. Always buy some lovely Napoleons. They're your shotguns. So we're equipping our guys with garbage weapons first, because manpower is not a problem with the Union. Money is, but everything else is not. You can see that our morale, our reputation has gone up, meaning that we'll get a +1 morale boost, but we can spend it on more manpower or more money. Now we're going to spend it on more manpower because we can. And the Union is easy mode, so I don't have to worry about losing too much. And now we've run out of money, so there you go. Also, divisions can get perks. For example, Brigadier General William Brooks, he can have a perk that will increase overall traits of his troops. So we can have a passive for everything that gives you +10 XP, which is really good. Tactics will give you +5 speed, or ammo +20%. I like training because I like to train my guys up as quick as possible, because although you can have large armies, you can have particularly low morale armies. And once you get to the later levels, you're going to need a crack corps or crack divisions that can that can stand in one place and get slaughtered and attack positions without routing. And so you want to get your XP up as much as possible. Let's save the game. Now, I'll play this a bit differently as a Confederacy, but for now as a Union, because I have a bit of elite gamer knowledge, we won't be doing that. So, rubber band mechanic. Assemble. Sending 1,900 crack soldiers to reinforce your positions, and they're going to send... heard about 29,700 soldiers, so that's the rubber band mechanic to keep the game competitive. So, because we wiped out the army previously, they're going to bring 29,000 more men to bolster their force. The next battle will be, of course, Shiloh, but first we need to do skirmishes. River Crossing and Crossroads. So the Crossroads. Rebels have strengthened their presence at the Cumberland Gap, a strategic position near the junction of Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee states. They recently made Mill Springs their winter quarters, and this position is our next military target. Detachments of the Army of the Ohio have already been dispatched and will gather at Logan's Crossroads to commence the assault. Your mission is to protect Logan's Crossroads until all our troops have arrived. If you lose 8. And if you draw, you lose 5. So it should be a pretty easy victory. And you want that sweet, sweet money. You need the money, honey. You get some more details, but you don't need to worry about that. So I always like to use my first corps because I like to make my first corps the most powerfulest and the most experienced. And then I'll use the other 2 corps when I can. But really, I always try and put every battle. I always try and put the first corps in the battles so I can level them up. Detachments of your army are gathering at Logan's Crossroads, commencing an attack on the rebel force. Our scouts have spotted rebel patrols in the woods, heading your way. This is a pretty easy defense map, he says. Fingers crossed. You just got to hold. And a lot of the early Union campaign will be hold. Hold. And hold Logan's Crossing. So my victory condition is hold Logan's Crossing, and Logan's Crossing is there. So if I remember correctly, he says, if I move into the forest like that, I should be pretty good. Early defenses are a trick for noobs. They're easy to get encircled, they're very vulnerable, and you can have a bad time. So the reason why I've moved these guys in here is to have that woodland cover. And I want to move up just to slap those skirmishers. And our reinforcements are already on the way. Bup, bup, bup. Get these bad boys running. Because we're going to need them running for what happens next. Now, the trick with mastering this game is mastering the terrain. So I don't actually want to hold too much aiming across this river. I want to hold as far back as possible, because if the Confederacy is in the river, or the Confederate units are in the river while they're crossing, they'll take massive damage. So I actually want to keep my troops somewhere like over here aiming down, but sometimes you just haven't got the time and the resources to do it. So in this case, I want to fold these guys just a little bit back. So they get in that river. The cannons are here, they can plonk their sweet asses down. Now that they're in the river, you can see the massive penalties. See the damage 50% in that river? Basically means good luck, goodbye, nice knowing you, adieu. And the cannons, of course, always nearby, right behind, in case any of the Confederate troops decide to charge. So we've got a weird sort of thing going on here. Not sure why that's happening. But, I'm just not going to pay attention to it. Once again, the cannons will do their thing. Our guys will counter volley. And that will cause a nice little rout. Wait for the cannons to do their sweet, sweet justice. Oh, you're firing at the wrong thing. I'm disappointed. Let's relocate. Actually, why not? Let's actually keep our troops there. I don't know how they got over there, why Morsey's decided to abandon that. Or run into enemy territory, but I'm just not going to think about it. Apparently our rear is flanked. I don't know how. Another charge. Another volley. Root. Goodbye. Now you see that we've lost there. It's not that bad. We'll just send out some more units. Send out some more skirmishers to hold that position. And act as bait. Sadly, our troops, or our northern flank, is a bit up in the air right now, but there's not much we can do about it. I'm going to abandon here so we can get a nice side flank. This is a common thing will happen. Units that overlap each other will march along the line to not overlap. So it means it tends to open holes in your line, which is very frustrating. But hey-ho. Okay, choose come back. And the north has been more or less contained. Still quite healthy sized armies or healthy sized troops, so I do have to be a little bit careful. But you've seen it here, the cannons are so devastating. How many kills has that cannon got? 387 kills. That's a lot by in-game standards. Eventually we'll be up like the 800 mark, but for now, we make do with what we got. It's not only that, but it's also the morale shock as well. In this game, cannons are like shotguns. Can I bring Mac Chu? I believe I can. And we are good. Some hefty casualties, but you're always going to get some hefty casualties early on. Until you get enough cannons to just make a wall of shotgun. And we finish the battle, and we get a victory. Again, I could farm them, weaken them, but that's cheese, so no. Easy. This is the sort of casualty figures you want, but of course, if you're going for uber cheese, I should be seeing 15,000, 20,000 dead infantry per battle. But I'm not going to do that. Most kills, Stockton. Most losses, Loomis. Loomis is going to be my whipping boy for most of the war. Sorry, Loomis, you're first in. Another career point, more money.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't check who got wounded in that battle. I should do that. Now, this is where an interesting feature comes in. You can either have rookies, but rookies will reduce your overall experience and reduce your stats, or you can have veterans, but veterans are a lot more expensive. Really, until you've gone up training, the training levels, or you've gone up the medical levels, or you've full politics, you don't want to spend a lot of money in veterans. The only time I will spend a lot of money in veterans is to keep that first perk. So, for example, if I'm almost at, see if I'm at perk 1 right now, if I get more veterans, I may lose that perk, so I would use veterans in that scenario. Otherwise, just use your sweet cannon fodder. I'm going to upgrade some Lorenzes because we've ran out of Springfields. And we're going to start adding more troops. Let's see. Lorenzes are really good. Highly recommend Lorenzes. Good melee, good accuracy, but they are expensive. So we're going to go for palmettos instead, once I can afford more men, which I can't right now. So our limiting factor here is money and not manpower, and so we're going to spend our point in politics. Politics means more money, more points, and there's more reinforcements. Now I'm getting 50% more reinforcements and 15% more income. I'm going to spend some money here. Please. Please. I could do reboard farmers, but Springfields are your bare minimum. Reboard farmers are not good. They are bruh. Comeback mechanic. 3,800 raw recruits coming in to bolster the Confederate army. Now we move on to the river crossing. A portion of your army advances to West Virginia to strengthen Lincoln's interests in the area, but rebels guard the river passage that you must cross. Advance and defeat the rebels that block your path. Clearing one of the 2 hills ahead of you will convince them to abandon the area. Again, a pretty low level engagement. So we're going to start immediately. We're in West Virginia. We're going to cross the river. So this is a little sneak peek of what you're going to be expecting as the game goes on, as the Union and later stages of the Union. You're going to have more manpower, more guns, but the Union Confederates are going to have a larger defense in depth. Now this is pretty much easy mode right now because they haven't got any trenches or fortifications, but later on they're going to have lines and lines of fortifications where you're just going to butcher your men trying to cross and take. So we're going to get these boys and form a nice line. I'm going to get these boys and push them south across here. And then the cannons, of course, in the center, because cannons are slow as fuck. Mildly's going to plonk himself down. Mildly, plonk yourself there. And our supply is going to follow close behind. Supply has a tendency of running, so you make sure you've got a double space to tell them to hold their position. So many times have I had supply too close to the engagement, and they've run off over there to get slaughtered by enemy troops. No, thank you. This is still a low level engagement. Cannons moving up as a sweet shotgun. And then we're going to start moving forward here. You don't really want to be facing that way, old boy. Ah. That's not good. You need to face that way. Run away. Move forward. How's my other boys? Are they almost there? Yes, they are. Get these guys up. This is why I got my cannons close by in case something like this happens. But sadly they've broken through. But thankfully my backup cannon saved me. Not good. So we're going to retreat back across this river and try and push on the other flank instead. Sadly, these guys just aren't trained enough to be of value for me right just yet. It's one of those positions. So this is one of the defensive positions which you need to flank because they are ridiculously strong. So you just need to deal with it like this and hope that you can break it before enemy Union reinforcements arrive. Fortunately, I built my armies well because of hindsight, so I can afford the damage done. You gotta kill those cannons. Ouch. Not going according to plan, if I'm honest, boys. I forgot about how strong they are early on. Still winnable, but questionable. So here we just need to get close. Charge while they're still routing. Move forward, charge. Hopefully get those cannons to rout. McLaren, I don't feel so well. Lincoln, I don't feel too good. Yeah, I'm almost there. It's just a case of it's one of those battles where you've lost more. You win it, but you've lost more men than you were prepared to lose. So this is going to be a battle where I win it, but I did not want to lose this many men in such an engagement. It wasn't worth it. Because now I'm going to have to rebuild these troops. And it's going to cost me a lot of money, and it's going to cost me a lot of manpower. Because I didn't play it very strategically. You can get around it if you're a bit slower, but the Union is made to be Babby's first, well, the Babby's first campaign. So I don't want to play it too slowly. That's why I'm playing on 2-speed. Normally you play these bad boys on 1-speed. It is designed to be like this. So it's designed to be a noob trap. You know, I'll charge across the river. There's a big gap here. I'll lose a load of men. What you're supposed to do is flank round first, and then with your flanking force, come around and encircle like so. But I did not do that. I did not do that. And now we are here. Like, we will win it. It's just that the cost of winning will be excessive. And that's the sort of the what do you call it? The main premise of the game is sure, you can win the battle, but in winning the battle you may lose the war. So if this was a Confederate campaign, I'd probably restart this or be prepared to lose it, lose the war because of the extensive casualties I took. But as the Union, you don't worry about that too much. So we can finish the battle, we can keep on fighting. I'm going to keep on fighting to capture this position. And then move the cannons up. Five-speed it. And then slowly begin teasing the flanks. Sometimes you won't have this opportunity to keep the battle going, but when you are in this situation, you do need to win. So it's best to keep the battle going. Otherwise, you end up with a draw, and you end up with more casualties than then you end up actually losing more men than what you get from the draw. It's another case of they're in cover, so they'll take less casualties, I'll take loads. What are you doing? And there's a victory. So see, this is the sort of casualties figure you don't want, because that means you've got to but as the Union, this is not a big deal. The manpower's achievable. As a Confederacy, it is a big deal when you play the Confederacy, because you don't want to be having these sort of victories because they're just too costly. So I got Loomis, who's I think wounded, and now I've got to rebuild all these troops. And that means, of course, they lose a lot of their experience, meaning they're going to be weaker, which means that in the long term, it's going to be a bit problematic. In the short term, however, it's not that big a deal. Lorenz's, we're running out, so we're going to go Palmettos. And then Palmettos. Actually, we don't, because we should be having enough Springfields now. So, don't think our limiting factor is going to be manpower. Let's see what happens in the next battle first before we decide where we're going to spend our points. So if we go and click on Shiloh, your army moves down via the Tennessee River and disembark at Pittsburgh Landing. You are expecting Major General Don Carlos Buell to join you with the Army of Ohio for attack on Corinth, 22 miles on land. You must defend your position until both armies meet and continue the expedition. Because of the previous victories, 10% less Confederate morale, -5 army size. So it's another little meta thing you can do. If you're not sure what you want to spend your forces on, you can check to see what's going on in the battle, how many men you can field, and then you can decide, all right, what do I spend my points on? I can go back to the camp, think, okay, I need more men because I haven't got enough men in the field yet, so I'm going to build more men. But our limiting factor right now is manpower, and that's because of the previous defeat. I could have perhaps got 2 or 3 extra brigades into my army, but because I didn't do a particularly good job of it, now I'm going to be a lot less effective on the field. So we're going to spend more army or more points on politics and get our recruitment up to 17.5%. And because we have not done a particularly good job with manpower, we're going to try and offset that with guns. So we're going to find guns a large amount and start equipping units with good guns. Yes, sir. And that should prepare us for the battle. Autosave scum, please stop. And then save. So let's go back to the battles map. Actually, let's spend some money on logistics. Nothing will break your heart more than spending $10,000 on a supply wagon for it to get stolen. And like, that's 10,000 dolans thrown in the bin. So if we win, we get +10 political power, a load of money, and a load of manpower. We draw, we don't struggle too badly, and if we get a defeat, we get -20 politics, which is not good. Victory is pretty easy on this map as long as you know what you're doing. So we have transported our corps to Pittsburgh Landing, located on the west bank of the Tennessee River. In order to guard a wider area, we have established multiple engagements south of Pittsburgh Landing. The Army of Mississippi under Major General Albert Sidney Johnston is known to operate in the region, but should not be in a condition for offensive actions. Tomorrow you will expect to combine your armies and advance towards Corinth, 22 miles southwest, the Crossroads of the Confederacy. Until our allies arrive, however, Pittsburgh Landing must be defended at all costs. So we've got our 2 corps, 20, that's not bad. Now, the thing with this map is it tricks you. It's a very linear linear map. If you're new, you could lose a lot of men trying to defend objectives you don't need to defend. Primarily, each stage of the battle, you will be told to withdraw, and you will be expected to withdraw. So your aim here on the first day of the battle, the first stage, isn't to actually hold the initial positions, but to withdraw back to Pittsburgh Landing, at which point you can then counterattack. So it's very it can be very misleading for a lot of guys, and they'll try and defend, and they'll get butchered. We've transported our army via the Tennessee River to this location, Pittsburgh Landing, and we're preparing to advance further south. Yeah, we get the general idea. Our encampments are spread out to warn of any possible rebel attack, starting from the west at Shiloh Church, and ending here on the west bank of the Tennessee River. We are expecting General Buell tomorrow, and we will unite our forces to strike out on southern soil. General pickets have reported enemy movements a few miles south. Maybe it's a decoy tactic and the rebels are planning to attack us from another direction. In any case, our right flank at Shiloh must be defended. We should deploy skirmishers. Don't deploy skirmishers. It's a lie. Mobilize your troops and stay alert. So the first thing you want to do is you want to retreat across the river. And you want to cheese the river damage. And you do this by getting in the forest where you get as much cover as possible, 100 cover. And make sure you're not over the range of the river. You want to just be in the river. So when they cross, you open fire. Same here, so we know we can, once they cross the river, they're in, and once we're in here. So we're good here. I'm going to deploy our little cannons. I'm going to chill out here. So the high level play, especially as Confederacy, you will be exploiting as much as possible the terrain and the damage penalties. Because you want to take as less casualties as possible and inflict as many casualties as possible the other way around. Now we chill. Again, if people are new to the game, look at this, they'll think, oh, I've got to hold all these objectives, I've got to fight to the death. You don't. You don't. It's a lie. The game lies to you on purpose to trick you into doing the historical mistakes. This is probably, yeah, this is too far across, so we're going to retreat back a little bit. And there's the enemy. We're going to immediately counter. Because these guys will have big cores. Sadly, my cannons did not do a particularly good job. And then we retreat back. Back into the shed. And now we wait. Perhaps I might even move forward a little bit to engage him on the river. There we are. It's all about that sweet, sweet river. Piecemeal offensive, that's what we like to see. Nice little route. And now we can chill. More elements of the Army of the Mississippi. It appears to be Polk's Corps. Okay. This will be one of the few times where the Confederacy has massive amounts of manpower, like 3,000 size corps, but they need it to actually be a threat to you. Brooks is coming down with the boys. Don't worry about him. You should not be firing on me. 3,000 core size cores you can make, but or brigades you can make, but they're not good. They're bad. Don't do them. Too unwieldy. You can see they're taking massive damage because they're in the river. There we are. Sweet, sweet damage. Damage! Start turning. Potentially even retreating them back into the woods. Oh, stop, stop, stop. Got some naughty boys that are coming in. Time to relocate Shiloh over here. I don't want to get in the river myself, so I do have to be a bit careful. Don't want to end up in the bog. Gonna move those cannons up. Because now they're in the forest, so it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get them out. Get out of my forest. Oh, it's painful. A lot of pain there. There we are. The cannons are in position. Halt, 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 halt. Halt, halt, halt. Stop what you're doing. Halt, halt, halt. Because 1,500 cores are pretty maneuverable and they have a lot of longevity, whereas the 3,000 cores aren't particularly maneuverable, and although they can take a big morale shock, they are not designed. They can be quite easily encircled and surrounded. I'm going to retreat back a bit because that I'm losing that engagement on the left. And this has been a perfect demonstration of the river. Oh no, a cavalry charge. And that's why you don't do cavalry charges. My supply wagon? Do I have a supply wagon? Nope. Oh, my cannons ran out. Go home, GI. I mean, Union. I mean, Confed. Oh no, the dreaded realignment. Cavalry's back. Don't worry about them. They'll be gone soon. And it's just a farming exercise now. Until you move on to the next stage. Confederates attack the left, which actually is our right on the campaign map. We must form defensive positions. Our main objective is to hold the center of our encampment. You don't have to do any of this. You ignore it. You throw it in the bin. Okay, so these are your free spawns, I believe. So you can dispose of them however you see fit. Your free cannon fodder. Noob trap is to hold this field. Don't do it. Don't do it, I beg you. Please. And just chill here for a bit until you're told to withdraw. Oh no, the Confederates have broken you. What are you going to do? And there they are. As long as they don't YOLO charge, you can farm away with impunity. So it might be an idea to move the cannons over here. I think they've got better equipment than me. There's the next batch. That's a big cavalry force. Now that is sort of a cavalry force you can use to destroy not tanks, cannons. Always put your cannons right behind where you expect them to push. So I've got the cover advantage, but they have the range advantage, so I need to retreat just a little bit. So they cross. I need them to cross. So they're just in there when they start engaging. Yay, more units. You can tell that this is not very difficult. But again, it's all based on previous experience. If you hadn't built your armies properly, you might only have 4 divisions here, or 4 brigades. And it's a case of looks like I'm in dire straits. Also, if you'd lost really badly the previous battles, then you'd be in a pretty sticky wicket as well. This is a sort of perfect situation to be in where they're not firing at you, but you're firing at them. And I just click the 5-speed button, and you chill and you relax. Bring down the supply wagon to keep the cannons fed. And this is the only thing you need to worry about if they try and do something like that. because they can tank quite a few hits. Right, so they're hitting me, and it hurts. Well, actually, it doesn't hurt that much. I only took 92 casualties. See if we can do some flanking action. Then immediately run away. This is what you've got to be concerned about, the rogue cav. Just waiting to bully you. To stop you just turning this double hit the spacebar. This is why you got your cannons. Goodbye. So if I want to keep a stable line like this, I will tell these guys to hold. But if I want troops that rotate, then I'll just let them do their own thing. You do want, in some cases, troops to rotate, so when you do get a charge, you can fire into their sides. The AI is smart enough not to push, unless it's got a decent manpower most of the time, unless it's scripted to. And they will push parts of the line, they won't just do a general assault. But at this stage, we've done so much damage to them that they're almost on par with our manpower now, so... like, in terms of our in brigade sizes. Go away! Still good ratio, I'm going to keep him there. That's a bad ratio, but hey, you were being point blank for a while. So this is your scripted withdrawal, so if you've been holding like a potato for the past 20 minutes, shame on you. Immediately retreat all your troops back. Retreat everything back. Run. This is your running stage. And hopefully don't leave your cannons behind. Like I have done. So I'm going to leave one unit as a sacrificial lamb to buy me time. Now here you can create a rather vicious little defensive position. So you can put all your cannons like in here and turn this into an absolute killing ground. Okay, these guys can start running now. Those cannons can run over there. These fellows can retreat like this. And these guys can retreat back, like so. Everyone run. This is a pretty good retreat. No, no boys left behind. Run! Run, you fools! Go home, Cav. You're drunk. Oh no, cannons get back. Okay, don't put your cannons in there. Unless you've told them to hold, in which case do. But I haven't, so, hey ho. This is one of the few defensive positions which are actually still good early game. I'm making my boys stand in rivers, not good. That's probably why you're taking so many casualties. These are the sacrificial lambs. But don't worry about it. And you don't even need to hold here either. You just can if you want. If you want to be historical. Because I think what this is what actually historically bought the Union time to get their reinforcements and to reorganize. But this is no longer viable, so we're running away now. Run away! Now casualties are starting to mount up rather painfully. But I do want to just run now. Run away! That's right, you captured that bad boy. That's a lot of units still. Don't panic. That's the only thing you need to do in this, not panic. Let's keep withdrawing. We've still got large amounts of troops, but next day you're going to be OP, so don't worry about it. Brewster is killed. Oh, I did try and save you, Brewster. Whoa, you potato. I did not go see Suicide Squad, but I was going to do it today, but I couldn't be bothered in the end because it was on like an hour from when I got there. I will have to do it eventually, out of principle. I want to watch The Green King. I think that's going to be pretty good, but it's I don't know if it's out on cinemas. Green King. Yeah. Based off what do you call it, Arthurian mythology. Oh god, I'm taking a lot of casualties here. Yeah, Suicide Squad is definitely on the list, but it's just because I don't want to go in when there's like loads of kids there, you know, by myself. I'd feel pretty awkward. Yeah, I heard that the Green King. Yeah, Green King's a slow burner. I heard it's a pretty slow boy. But I think it's pretty good. I think well, I've heard it's got good reviews. Heard it's very impressive. Oh, I don't trust like Rotten Tomatoes. Like Rotten Tomatoes is a perfect example. Rotten Tomatoes, you've got you know, critical critical acclaim for this great for this film, best film ever, best thing since sliced bread, and then the user reviews is like 20%. It's hot garbage. Yeah. So we're going to retreat. This has been all culminating into this retreat. This is the only reason you've been fighting this entire time to get over here. But yeah, I don't trust movie reviews. I know I mostly do it via word of mouth or online forums. That's where I get my my reviews from, or whether or not I decide to get a watch a film or not. This becomes Farming Simulator 2021. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like I watch found flicks most of the time. These guys have got no ammo, so I'm going to replace them with people who do. Oh, he reviews horror films. That's probably why. Well, he mostly discusses horror films, but yeah, that's his thing. So really, this entire battle has just been a what do you call it? A war of attrition. You're just trying to reduce the numbers, so when you get to this stage, you don't get overwhelmed. Now, you shouldn't get overwhelmed because you're in really good defensive positions. You've got lots of manpower if you haven't plebbed it. And the only thing you have to worry about is mass charges. Yeah, found flicks. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I watch that for horror films. See if you want to watch watch a horror film. Although I don't really think Green King is a horror film, but you know how it is. This is where you go to the rotation stage. When your troops get low morale or low manpower, you rotate them out and get get in more troops, put in some fresh troops. So you see a charge there. That's why I've got troops behind. They can fire into my own into my own line, which is a bit OP, and cancel the attack. On the right, you've got some gunboats helping you as well. This is going to be literally it for like 2 hours until we get reinforcements. Yeah, Babsocks are pretty good. But I just still, I walk up at the cinema and I look at I have dinner and I look at the timings and think, fuck. I mean, I should really look at the timings and go have dinner. So these guys are starting to take a lot of casualties. I'm going to rotate them out and put in some new troops. And trying to put people who've over 1,000 men into each line. So I know they've got some sticking power. Nerdrotic and Geek and Gamers. Oh, I've never heard of them. Most of the time, I'm really only interested in horror films, so I won't really watch anything else. But occasionally, I've got nothing else better to watch, and I will watch something else. So this is it. The constant rotation. If you've been playing this properly and you've been withdrawing correctly and you haven't been wasting men, then you should be fine. Oh, they do comic book movies. Probably not my kind of thing. I mean, I'll watch Marvel like family, but I won't really watch it. I won't really watch shit in my own time. I mean, I'll probably watch Suicide Squad because there's nothing else to watch, but I want to watch The Green King and see if it's out on cinemas. Well, sadly, it doesn't look like it is out. There's like films like Stillwater and Suicide Squad, but not Green King. So I'm trying to find it. Trying to find it, if you know what I mean. It's probably like a Amazon exclusive, some garbage like that. Another route. Guess what that means? More troop replacements. Another route, more troop replacements. And that's all you're doing. You're just maintaining the line, and eventually you'll demolish what's left of their manpower. So it used to be, what, 2,000 strong, 3,000 strong each one? But now it's slowly going down. And we're going to get reinforcements now, so this is no longer a problem. Yeah, I don't know what Stillwater's about, but I saw it was a 15, so I thought, okay, maybe this is it's going to be a good film. As long as it's horror, really, the only thing I'm interested in is horror films. No, I don't, Mr. Bot. Goodbye. How was Suicide Squad? Was it better than the first Suicide Squad or worse? What would you rate it out of 10? That's a lot better. Okay. I saw they had a lot of meme superheroes, you know, like the guy who's got like detachable hands. Eight out of 10. Okay, okay. Relocating. Oh, it's more of a comedy, Reggie. So now I'm just going to test the flanks. So the AI will keep on scripting the counterattack, but I don't really care now, if you know what I mean. I've got my reinforcements. I've got 3,000 size brigades. I can start teasing the flanks. Cast does an amazing job and the visuals are good. Oh, okay, okay. That's impressive. I do want to go to cinema. I should do it Friday, but I feel like whenever I've got free time, I want to stream, you know? Because like every hour of time not spent streaming is a bad time. That's fine. I normally get them quite quick because of touchpad. So at this stage, you've fallen back. You've worn out the Union forces. They're now in the 700s. You can now counterattack. The AI will be spread thin. You'll have a load of men, and you'll be able to push and break through. So what appears to be a very fluid battle, it's probably one of the worst battles in terms of scripting because it's not very dynamic. And a lot of players will make a lot of mistakes doing trial and error, trying to hold objectives they should not be holding. So we're going to move the copious amount of troops we have over here. The Confederacy may try and never attack, but who cares? Who cares about that? And all we need to take is one of the objectives down south. But already these are quote-unquote taken, so that's a bug, but don't worry about it. The AI will probably counterattack that. Idris Elba and John Cena carried a movie. Yeah, I think that John Cena is going to try and like become the new... who was that famous wrestler? The guy who's in Jungle Cruise. I hear Jungle Cruise is pretty good. He's trying to... Yeah, The Rock. He's trying to break into that sort of market. And I don't blame him. I think John Cena is a pretty funny guy. So, so if he can pull it off. Was he quite a good actor, or was he just sort of a meme? I'd be quite happy if he's quite a good actor. Because I do like success. I don't know if he can. What, John Cena? Oh, okay. Because I like the idea of, you know, people ending their career and being successful in other things. So I'd like John Cena just to be successful, like the new Rock, just for just out of goodwill. Oh, a sarcastic guy. Okay, so he's going to be like Fast and Furious, you know, like mock serious. Oh, I have a hard time taking him seriously. Yeah, it's the same thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know. Like Paul Rudd. If only I knew who Paul Rudd was. Again, I probably know the guy if I saw his face. But you know how it is. Oh, Ant-Man. Yeah, you can't take Ant-Man seriously. If he, like, was in a thriller. Same guy who's in Deadpool. You can't have him in a serious film. Because no one would take him seriously. Ben Affleck. Great comedy guy, but you can't have him as a... Free Guy, yeah, but Free Guy looks like a meme. Like, lol, he's an NPC, lol. Look, he can't die. Oh, look, he's being teabagged. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. I meant Ryan Reynolds. That's the guy I meant. That's the guy I meant. What if you were an NPC in a video game coming to a sold-out film near you? Yeah, I'm just being a grouch, but I like, I don't know, I like sort of serious this kind of movies. I mean, it will be funny. Like, it will be a casual laugh, you know. It will be an enjoyable trip out to the cinema, but it will not be the Citizen Kane of our generation. Ah, fair one, fair one. Everyone will have a good time watching it and then quickly forget about it. Like Click, you know? What's this guy? What's the guy? The guy from Happy Gilmore, you know? The guy from Happy Gilmore. These guys are going to break. Oh no. So once you get to about the 600 level in your armies, of your brigades, you're sort of in a danger level where they'll break, and then they'll just all rout and you'll lose them. So you want to be a bit careful with with what you do here. Adam Sandler, that's the guy. He used to make. Remember when he used to make funny films? I do not. He actually made some funny films. Like as a kid, they were funny. When you look back at it as an adult, you think, "Why the fuck did I laugh at this?" Like I was pretty dumb as a child. I should fall back. I shouldn't be pushing on this flank. I haven't got the troop numbers for this. Uncut Gems was a serious movie. Him and he was great in it. I did not like Uncut Gems. I'm sorry. I didn't find it interesting in the slightest. I think we turned it. I think me and my old man turned it off the like 30 minutes into the film. Like, where is this going about the magic gems? Where is this leading us? Well, my old man, he likes like bloody, what do you call it? He likes gangster films, you know. He likes Narcos and like the old mafia films. So of course it was never going to be our sort of thing. This becomes a rather unpleasant war of attrition. Trying to do a sweep flank here. We send these guys down, so we sent one unit down there to secure this objective. We'll send another unit down to secure this objective, and that'll be us done. And then we can chill, or we can just encircle and destroy this army. Another little tip here is if you don't want to micro, you can tell these guys to walk and form a defensive line, and then they'll advance and shoot, which is very good because it means you don't have to. It means they'll slowly push forward without you having to micro too much. So, for example, if I want to push here, I turn off the run, and these guys will slowly start marching and shooting. Yeah, and we like the Sopranos as well. They're making a new Sopranos called The Saints of Newark or something like that, and I'm hoping that's really good. I'm hoping that's amazing, because I'm desperately in need of a new like gangster television show. So we had Boardwalk Empire, we had The Sopranos, and so I'm desperate to get my healthy dose of gangster films. Or gangster stuff. Peaky Blinders, yeah, Peaky Blinders is good, but I feel like it stopped being good after like season 4. It got a bit unrealistic. You know, what I liked about The Sopranos, it has at least a grounding in realism. Whereas Peaky Blinders, like, oi mates, we're gonna go punch Winston Churchill in the gobber. Like, all right, mate, let me get my Peaky Blinder #TM. I got a plan, guys. Yeah, like Game of Thrones. It goes like, oi, mate, we're gonna assassinate Oswald Mosley. You what, fam? And here we have a Immaculate Encirclement. And yeah, Game of Thrones was so good. Like it had that political aspect to it, and then it was, I know, let's throw everything out of the window. Yeah, Peaky Blinders. Well, it's still casual fun to watch. You know, it's not bad. Well, it is bad, but it is what it is. It's something to watch. And there we have it. So the AI will be, once you get that sweet encirclement, the AI will normally start surrendering en masse. Breaking Bad was good. I like Breaking Bad, but I like Breaking Bad, but I hate the main character so much. He's such a manipulative little idiot. Why didn't he just like? He could have once he got into bed with what's the guy who owns Polos Hermanos? Once he got into bed with that guy, he could have just made bank, kept his mouth shut, not rocked the boat, and he would have, you know, died of cancer, but he would have made a ton of money, and his family would have lived happily ever after. But no, he had to get mouthy. He had to start doing stupid shit. Next thing you know, he's killed off famous people. No, next thing you know, he's killed the guy off, and he's fucking screwed up the entire business. You had one job, and you fucked it up. Because he got greedy and big-headed, you see. He's a character you love to hate. You literally had one job, cook. Like, you had one job, cook. Come on, Walter. One job, that's all you gotta do. Cook some meth. Instead, you're going around backstabbing people and poisoning kids and shit, you know? And then where did all your money go? Straight in the bin. Yeah, definitely a great TV show. You can see the devolution. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion through season 1, season 2, season 3, season 2, yeah, throughout the entire season. Yeah, I don't remember why he screwed things up with the guy who owns Polos Hermanos. Like, how did he screw it up? I can't remember. Like, what he did was stupid. Probably something idiotic. So we won the battle. Massive victory. 31,000 casualties there and 12,000 casualties my end. Oh, they tried to kill Walter's brother. Oh dear. He fought. Yeah, he fought. Even then, he thought they were going to kill Walter's brother, Walter's brother-in-law. Even then, it was still a silly thing to get pissed off about, you know. Look how that played out for him later on. So 31,000 casualties, 12,000 casualties my end, but most of them aren't my own units. Oh, I didn't check the results. But anyway, you get +1 core, you get Grant as a free general, and you get 1,000, which is your max cap of additional recruits from prisoners of war. At which point it's a case of rebuilding your armies. Sons of Anarchy is good, but I watched some of their firefights and it's silly. Like they're having firefights like with shotguns 5 meters away from each other and no one's getting hit. Still, it's entertaining to watch. It's entertaining to watch. It's good comedy. So here we rebuild what's left of our armies cheaply as possible.
Sir, yes, sir.
Best train wreck I've ever watched. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy is a funny film, a funny TV series. Start recruiting our boys back up. Remember,
Yes, sir.
get manpower first, then upgrade their weapons. There's no need upgrading weapons yet.
Sir, yes, sir.
Recruit new guy. Porter, you're in charge. Boardwalk Empire's good if you like gangster stuff. Boardwalk Empire's really good. There we are. Upgrade these boys. Loomis is back. Well done, Loomis. Welcome back to the team. And McGinnins is back. So I'm going for that speed and efficiency. And then we're going to upgrade more troops. I think it is on. I don't know. I don't know what it's on. I watched the box set. I bought the box set, you see, so I don't know what it is on. Sadly. Whoa, hey. Sadly, but I'd have to check. So here, our limiting factor is manpower, and so we're immediately going to go down to career and do policy 1, policy 2, politics 2 to get our manpower recruitment back up. And then because we've got tons of money, we're going to start upgrading all our guns. So Lorenz is good, Palmetto's not very good. Buy Lorenz. Buy Lorenz. Buy Springfields. And then just do a general upgrade on Palmetto's.
Sir.
I don't know a Western show. I mean, there's Westworld, but it's not really a Western show, if you know what I mean. More of a meme. So we're going to spend money on manpower. And we are going to buy another core. And there we are. And then with the last of our money, we'll upgrade our units like so. Longmire is good. What's Longmire about? Is that on Amazon, is it? So, about a sheriff in Wyoming. Okay, okay, I will check that. It's on Netflix. All right, I'll have to tell my old man to crack out the Netflix account. Roger, I'll get him. That's what we're watching when I go on holiday. So here's the comeback mechanic. Because we destroyed 31,000 men, it'll be very easy now to curb stomp the Confederacy each time. But instead, they're going to get 49,000 more men, rubber band back up to my side, back to my sort of size, to prevent the game being a curb stomp. Got a couple more battles, but for now, I need to go have dinner. So we're going to stop for today. I'm just going to save the game so I don't have to micro any of this shit again. And I'll be back later on after dinner. But Bridget, I will take a look at Longmire, and Friday, I guess I will have to watch a film because I haven't, because I want some popcorn, I want some Coke, and I want to enjoy it. But I always want to go back and stream after I finish work, so I've got to make myself do it. Anyway, this is the first stage of our campaign. We're going to get to the hard stage now for the Union, which is Gaines Mill, but it's only difficult if you don't build or organize your armies. So if you have if you don't have like enough cores, if you haven't put enough in the army organization, this is where you're going to struggle. But you shouldn't struggle if you're paying attention on what you need and ticking boxes. So right now I'm low on manpower and money, so I'm going to go politics. Once I've got enough manpower but not enough money, I'm going to go politics. When I haven't got both, I'm going to put army org. You know, it's just common sense like that. So, gentlemen, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Look forward to further engagements and eventually World War One in 1864. But until then, I will see you guys later, and I will make sure to tell my old man to check out Longmire. I would also recommend Boardwalk Empire, but I need to go watch Suicide Squad. No worries. Have a good one, boys and girls. Have a good one. Adieu.